Hey guys, alright, I'm going to do a trade recap on my trade today, and I'm going to talk about my buddy Jordan's trade and where he ended up with on that, and then I'm just going to touch on two MJ stocks that I'm kind of watching right now just for a bit of market sentiment and just to kind of get an idea of this sector. So we made a watch list last night, me and Jordan. STDY, we were looking at DRNA, SORL, and MRNS. I went to bed late and I woke up a little late this morning, so I kind of rushed to work, and I got to work. I got to work at like 20 after 6 or something like that. By the time I got in, got to my desk, got my computer set up, the market was already open. So I opened it up right away, and my stock was moving. So here is STDY. These are the lines I laid out last night. I'm going to start always doing this. I'm going to lay out my support and resistance levels that I kind of find that I'm watching. Obviously, I could have kept making support and resistance levels all the way down, but in my eyes, if the whole $1.06 had broken, this thing was just going to keep going down, stepping down until it found its home back in the 390. So I was actually looking at this for a possible long or a possible short, depending on the way that it was going. So I missed the pre-market. I got to, here, let me open this up. I got to my computer, and the market had literally just opened up. I will make that into 1 minute so you can see it a little better. Okay, so here's some support and resistance lines that I had set up. I was looking for breaks of $7 in the morning. Pre-market, this thing took off right away up to a high of, looks like it tapped $9. I quickly had a glance at that when I got to my computer. I saw it came back down, found a bit of support here in the 760. So this kind of had a bit of range here that it was moving in and out of. I saw this on, when I opened my computer, I think I saw this right around this 880. I saw these first two candles kind of moving, and I got an order ready, an order window ready, and I really was just like, you know what? I researched this stock last night. It is way above my resistance levels. Looking for some sort of blue sky breakout. I believe on the daily there was nothing that I saw. You know, it was above all the moving averages. The support is, or the resistance is way back here in 2015. That's what I saw last night. So I wasn't really looking at that. I was kind of looking at support down here off of this one because it was similar to this one. These were the closest two, but I mean, this is what we saw, and we saw it was going to gap up. So, you know, it was a good play. It really was a beautiful play. So I opened up my computer, got my order window ready. I knew that $9 had topped really quickly here, just under $9 in the pre-market. So I jumped in. I went to jump in with 250 shares at 9:05, and I got rejected because my order size was too big for my account, for my buying power. I quickly tried to do some math. I just said, okay, 250 shares, hit send at 9:05, rejected. I was like, fuck. Kind of messed me up, threw me off a little bit. So that was on this candle here. When it popped up over the whole dollar, I was going to bail out at 8.95. The spread was kind of big on this too, so I was a little bit worried. I've had bad luck with this big spread before. So this came up, topped out at 9.35, and then it pulled back on this 1 minute candle all the way down to 8.95. So even if I jumped in here at 9.05 and let's say I'd sold up here for profit, that would have been great. If not, if I'd waited for the next candle and it pulled down here to 8.95, I would have bailed out. I would have bailed out and took a small loss. So instead, I got in on this candle, looking for the break of the $0.50, 9.50. I ended up getting filled. I think I hit it just before 9.45, 9.47. I got a bit of slippage. I ended up getting in at 9.50. This was quick. I didn't have an order ready or anything. I just jumped in following the bid with Quest Trade, and this is where I got filled. Popped up here, hit 970, and then the next candle opened up at 955 where I'd bought. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch it for a sec. It pushed up to a high of 970, rejected again, didn't make it, and started to pull back. So on this pullback, I tried to get out. This is where I went wrong today. I didn't have my finger. I usually have my finger hovering over top of my hotkey for cancel all orders. So that way I can hit buy. And if my order doesn't go through, I can quickly hit my hotkey hotkey, cancel my order, and then I can resubmit an order. I usually leave my order window to follow the bid or follow the ask, depending on which way the stock price is moving. But those buttons are really quick and close to each other. They're about this distance, kind of like this distance away. So I only got to move to the left, click something, move to the right, click something. My other finger, my left hand, usually sits over top of my cancel all orders list. I have no order confirmations. As soon as you hit buy, you're in the trade. It doesn't ask me for a password or anything like that, because these are quick trades and you want to get in and out quickly. So today's one of my mistakes was I didn't have my finger over it, so I actually had to move my mouse from about here all the way over to here, click cancel, and then move back and click buy again. So that's a long time in a fast moving stock with a big spread. So I tried to get out on this candle, I believe, at 940, didn't work, and then on this candle it popped back up quickly to 942, and then it started falling, and I bailed out, tried to get out at 930, got rejected again, quick cancel, and then I got out. I ended up getting filled at 925. So I actually have, I'll let you guys see it here so you guys can believe me, because some people don't and some people do. There you go. So there's my orders for the day. One day. So there's my failed attempt, 250 shares at 905. I quickly canceled that, waited for the pullback, and then I bought 200 shares. I lowered it at 955, whereas I got filled. And then this is the first one that I tried to get a bailout on, $9.40. Canceled that one, and you can see there's a bit of lag time here between because I was fumbling around. And then I canceled this one, 930. I tried to fill that one 930, and then I finally got filled at 925 on the way out. So that's the what I was talking about the other day of emotions and being prepared and just being ready for your trade, because my heart did skip one beat when I made my little panic, but I said, no, okay, you know what's going on, you know what you did wrong, resubmit the order and get out of the trade. Don't sit there and think, oh my God, you know what, it didn't work, maybe it's meant to be, maybe it's going to go back up. And you know what, maybe it did go, it would have gone back up. Maybe it would have. But here's the reality, and I'll show you right now. I got out on this candle, 1 minute, 2 minute, to a low of $8.28. So I was filled at 950. If I had waited and thought it was going to pull back up, I would have filled down in the $8 range. That's $1 a loss on 200 shares. That would have been a $200 hit to my account, which is only $985 or whatever it is. $984.49 I started with this morning. So, that would have taken me down to $780. Like, in an instant, I would have been absolutely devastated on tilt. My max loss on my account is $50 for the day. I ended up with a $59 loss. So I ended up with a $50 loss plus $9 worth of commissions. Is that a bad thing? Yeah, it sucks that I lost $59. I lost all my gains from last week. They're gone. But I avoided a $200 loss because I was quick to make a decision. I stuck to my trading plan, breakout or bailout. I got rejected twice on the 970. I had a fumble. That's a user error. That's going to happen in trading. And, it is what it is. I didn't beat myself up. I closed my platform for the day. I closed my order windows. I still charted and watched the market and, stayed up to date in the chat rooms and stuff like that. Did my job, but I didn't mess around. And, this stock did absolutely nothing for the rest of the day. So, I could have held on and held my emotions and, oh yeah, it's going to come back, it's going to come back, it's going to come back. And end of the day go, no, I'll sell it $7.40. Taking a $3 loss and, $2 loss and lost $400, but I didn't. I got out $59 and I feel pretty damn good about it. I will chalk that up to a certain type of a win. I'm not going to chalk it up to a green trade for profit, but I'll chalk it up to a win on my advancing in my trading career. So that's what I had for today. Jordan traded or went to trade DRNA. This is on our watch list last night. He's finally got his USD account active and ready to go. He's been obviously swing trading Canadian MJ stocks out of his TFSA, and now he's got his QT. He's got pretty much the same thing I've got going on. He's got a small account in Quest Trade in US dollars, so we can trade small cap NASDAQ stocks. So Jordan was looking at it here. Sorry, I'll go back. Again, we were looking at, we had very defined, very nice support and resistance levels where it climbed out yesterday, made some little hops and breakouts, and then in after hours, I can't remember, we liked this move because of this big move yesterday. We were either looking for a short back down to $3 or some sort of heading up to a blue sky breakout. So topped out at 340 at the end of the day yesterday. Kind of fell off a little bit here in the pre-market, but Jordan kept an eye on it, and he saw it come down here and bounce off this support, and then it made a little move up. Made a little move up here after this support level that we had at 320 area, and it started to climb. Came up here, tested 340. It pulled back, and he told me too. He told me right after. He goes, "Oh man, I had my finger hovering over the button. I had my order ready. I was ready to go, and this was going to be my first trade on a Monday in my new NASDAQ account." And he had a slight hesitation because that's what we do. We just don't always trust our risk versus reward. Sometimes we don't trust our support levels, and I've been working through that for the last couple of weeks, and he's just starting to get into it now. So that's what it's all about. It's about building trust in yourself. It's about building trust in your charting, and closing off the outside influences. Like today, I didn't open up my chat right away. I just focused on the trade as soon as I walked in the door, and he did the same. He didn't really chat too much. He just told me about it after. So came up, he missed it here. Came up, tested again, he missed it here, and then he said this was it. He saw 1, 2, 3 tests, which is not always the best. That's essentially a triple top and can turn around. Well, this is a continuation candle because it came up, closed, and then it popped up, sold off a little bit, and then it rose. And it went right up to 360. So he was looking for a break of 340, and I believe he had his profit. In Questrade, you can set a bracket order up where you can actually set your profit take order and send it right away. So you can send your stop loss. So you say you want to break a 350, you set it for 352, and then you want to take 20-cent profit. You'll set the profit order for 372, and you want a 10-cent loss, 342, right? And it'll send a triple order out at once. Your order will execute, and it'll fly up, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, but the anticipation is that it will catch your profit order and you'll take profit, or it'll turn the corner and you'll sell for your 10-cent stop loss. I started with them, but you don't have a lot of control over them. I've managed to build my internal control up a little better where I can actually push the button and get out of a trade like I did today. Yes, I had some slippage. I risked a little more than I wanted to. But like I said, I had a very big spread at some point, 10 cents, 12 cents. I even saw 15 spread on the stock between the bid and the ask. And, I learned a lesson today that this is the second time I've tried to trade a big spread stock out of the gates that, had relatively decent volume, but, I got rejected on both of them. So I will not trade a stock that has a 10-cent spread between the bid and the ask now on momentum. It's just not worth it. You can catch too much slippage and you can have too much of a loss. Also, he mentioned he saw the volume starting to come in, but it really wasn't enough to jump in there, right? It was only 40,000 shares of volume. It really wasn't pumping in. It's nice to see the volume pump in. And then, so he missed it, came up here. 363, he would have made some profit, and then it moved on and didn't do anything for the day. So we picked both these off our watch list last night, and they made quick morning moves. I got rejected the one and Jordan missed the other, but whatever, it is what it is. So we picked 4 stocks, and 2 of them were right on our watch list. Pretty happy about that. I'm just going to check the volume on my STDY real quick before I move over to MJ stocks. So see this volume here, right? This came in, this volume came in, this volume pump. And then this is the volume I got in. I saw this volume starting to build, 200,000 shares in a minute, and that's where I got in. And then as soon as this happened and this happened, I was out. And I am so glad I did not take a $200 loss today. That would have just killed me. $59, $50 max loss on the day. Close up your platform, move on. So, quick little look at the weed sector. I took a position on IMH today. I have 2 accounts. I have a TFSA Canadian account that I trade swing intraday stuff in the marijuana sector, and then I have a USD account with Questrade that I trade through NASDAQ, small cap stuff. So as everyone knows, the other day IMH received I think it's their grower received their LP. I think it's only for cultivation. I'm not a huge fundamental guy, but that's the chat. That's the talk in the chat room right now. this stock kind of bumbled along for a while, and then on this day it climbed up to about 140. I know a few guys that took positions in here and a few girls that took positions in the 130s, and it closed I think around 141 on this day. And then that night they announced that, I believe it was that night they announced the LP news, and then the next morning was halted with coming off a halt. I think it was 11 o'clock Eastern time. So during the halt, it built and built and built. I believe it built up to about $1.60 bid, and then it came off halt. Yeah, that's right. Came off halt, opened up at $1.60, flew up, right? Topped out here at $1.80. Had a little pullback here to 165, which offered a great play. I did make some suggestions about how I would have traded this had I taken a position. And some people made some money, and some people just decided to hold. But anyways, it came up here, popped up, and then it got rejected on the whole dollar, which that's a big move for a small stock that hasn't done a lot in a long time. To get rejected off the whole dollar, I had a feeling that was going to happen. So, and then it pulled back here. I think this is Thursday, pulled back, and then Thursday, kind of built a nice base here. Thought it was going to be a base, but you've got this gap, right? You always got to be aware of this gap. So you're building a base just on top of the gap. There's your support, and it's just barely hanging on. What happens? Well, the gap is starting to fill. Where it gaps up, it gaps down. Where it gaps down, it usually comes back up. So here we go. The gap is starting to fill. So there's half the gap filled on today, sold off, and it's just kind of hung around, bumbled along. I mean, it's pretty spotty. There's not a lot of volume coming in. I saw it come down here, hit 149. Actually, I took my position right here, 152. I got 795 shares at 152. And it sold off down here to 149, and I was ready to get out. 148 had 20,000 on the bid. So 148. If I started seeing those on the level 2 getting chewed up, I would have just bailed out and took a 4-cent loss, which is $28 or something like that. Just over $28. Well, plus commission, so about $38. Again, small account. It was a $1,200 investment. But then it bounced. It held this nice level here, and then it came back up, and we saw 155, and then it came down here, and it's actually now making a higher low at 150. So I'm interested to see what this does tomorrow, and if it could kind of recover and either try and fill this gap back up, or if it wants to, it might go down here and fill this gap. And tomorrow I will watch it closely. I'm not looking for a lot on it. I honestly, I'll take 8-cent per share profit, even 5. I just like making a green trade and slowly building that account up too. I mean, that account's not very big. It's only a few $1,000s, but $50 here, $60 there, $90 there. Those are all great trades. My accuracy on that account, I think, is about 76%. So I'll just keep growing that accuracy and growing that account. Let's check out Weed, WEED.to. So I know a few people in our chat room and group are pretty decently invested in Weed. Always a good stock to look at. A lot of people feel that it's the main kind of forefront runner, but lately it hasn't been performing properly. So Weed I was looking at today, and I actually made a call out in the room that this is kind of we're coming into a last line of defense support level, and if it decides to fall down through this, we're going to see some stops along the way. So obviously, we popped up, we had this gap up. I think this was on the legalization news on the Sunday. Yep, this was the legalization news or legislation announcement news on the Sunday. We came up, found a high of 1125. Obviously had an emotional sell-off, profit taking. Again, quick bounce, came up, back down, made another bottom, and then we came up, rolled around, and then this should have been a great support line for anybody that was still in the trade to say, okay, if it breaks this 1066, let's say they got in around here anywhere, I should get out at 1066. Well, it came down, it broke it, came back up, tested it one time, slumped off, and then it actually tested this prior support at 1018, which is found at these two resistance points at 1018. So came down, tested that once, back up, pushed through the $0.50, kind of got rejected, little loop-de-loop there, came down, and then there's a big sell-off here at the end of the day. And, you know, it is testing this hard right now, 1018 support. So we all know that the whole dollar usually provides support as well as psychological support. So here we have our whole dollar support, which is actually pretty damn close to the full gap fill here. So, you know, if you're in this position and you're holding on and you start to see this support start to dwindle on the level 2 or wherever, you know, you should start to reconsider your position. I would say what you're going to do going forward. Definitely $10 is kind of the last one down here in the 980s. We saw it kind of come down here into the 9s already, and then it popped up with this kind of news, and you know, it made a new run. But really over the last while, this stock has not been performing. You know, don't look at November because that's an anomaly, obviously, but ever since this nice big run up to $13, we've just seen a downward trend, downward trend, downward trend. I know some people are getting excited about some of these, you know, gap down to big moves. These are great trading plays, but these are not, you know, long-term investments, because we have a solid and steady downtrend going. And as long as well, you know, it's trying to break out of it there. We'll see what happens, but essentially, any way you want to cut it, all of these candles are underneath this line. So this is what it has been for now. This would be nice to see some sort of, see, there's hard to find good support here. You can find some from here, from a while back. If we run off 1018, this is where we had a nice breakout in that run up here. So, you know, I'd be looking for some sort of a bounce off of this 1018 with a move north, possibly, in the next day or two. Some of the other stocks are starting to consolidate, I feel, when I look at them. We had a nice run on SL today, Supreme, so we'll see what that starts to do. But, you know, this is the idea that we want. We either want some sort of bounce or we want some sort of kind of consolidation going through here. So obviously, it's question should get some better drawing stuff. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I always keep an eye on that one. Obviously, there's more to look at, but until this has proven itself as not a sector leader anymore and has fallen off the horse, which I don't quite think it has yet, but it is definitely leaning that way, I'll keep an eye on it. So that's what I got for today, guys. Again, you know, I got shafted here pretty good. I probably should have just not taken the trade after I got rejected on this 905, but you know, I know breaks of the $0.50 work, and I kept an eye on it and tried to play it and it didn't work. So 955, rejected at 940, 30, 25, I was out. It was really hard to watch myself, you know, watch money go, not down the drain, but my profits from last week, I got to earn them back now. So we're going to make a watch list here in a couple minutes, and then we'll be trading again tomorrow. All right, guys, that's all I got for the day.